Well, we're recording now, so let's go ahead and get a few discussions going. The first question I had on the list was, what's a lesson that mom or dad taught you that has been most meaningful or helpful? Who would like to start us off?
Well, I will, of course. No, one one thing I remember growing up was um, mom and dad taking us on a payday almost every Friday night, I don't know, and we'd go to Gonzales, Mexican restaurant. I knew you'd know that, Les. But anyway, then it was a learning experience. It wasn't just out to dinner. The boys had to always open the door for women. It was taught. And when we got in the restaurant, we always put our napkins in our laps. And then we were taught this at home too, which fork to use with what and which spoon and on and on. And especially bread. I remember you're never supposed to, this is women, I don't know about you guys, but you never just pick up a whole piece of bread and butter it. You pick up one little piece at a time, just enough to put in your mouth.
Yes.
I remember teaching a lot of people that, whether they
I don't,
liked
I don't,
it or not.
I don't think you got bread like that at Gonzales, though.
Well, that's
Little
what
piece of tortilla and butter it. This is
That's-
Gonzales.
I was just thinking Gonzales to teach which are the proper utensils to use doesn't sound about right either.
Yeah,
If
really.
you get your
Here's
fork.
your fork.
we were,
That's it.
we
Yeah.
were taught at home when we
Yes.
set the table how to, how it's done in proper restaurants, not just at home.
Right.
But she was
Yes.
always reading things, and we were taught that.
Well, Gonzales was on 13th Street too, so you had to also learn to be able to watch the door for.
It was a
No,
good
that's
place.
what you're saying is right, though. I remember mom always making sure I walked on the outside by the curb
Right.
and taught us proper manners. That was really great. That really was.
It was because a lot of people aren't taught that when they're
No.
growing up.
Good.
I
I
don't
know
walk
one
right
of
to the curb. I'm
One
clumsy
of
Andy,
enough to
were you
fall
taught
off.
anything?
No,
what?
Were you taught anything, Candy?
Yes, thank you. No,
I
the one
remember
thing that I always
Gonzales.
remember Dad saying, and this is the first thing that comes to my mind because I actually use this story a lot with younger clients that I have. And Dad used to always say, there's no such word as can't. And I always loved that. And I, talk to, some of the younger folks that I meet with all the time, talk to them about that, how your attitude is everything. Your attitude is everything in terms of what you will accomplish and what you can accomplish. And yeah, and I'd always bring Dad into the equation. And a lot of times bring in the stories of, where he started and, where he came from and what he overcame to become a successful businessman in his life, from, the Depression on up. So that's one of my favorite things. There's no such thing as can't. And I always liked Mom's stories of the things that she did in her life with, driving the school bus, driving the trucks and all that. This idea that, it's okay to think outside the box. It's okay to not follow the norms for us. I think if Mom had been born 40 years later, she probably would have been the helicopter pilot.
I agree with you.
Well,
I think for Dad and I think for me, Dad always taught me the power of work. I traveled with him for an awful lot. I'm sure Mom had an agreement with Dad. Ronnie's not in school. You get him on the truck, because I remember just always being on the truck with Dad. But work, he was the hardest worker I've ever met. I remember one time in our ward, growing up teenager, and we had a fast for Bishop's wife who was sick. And Dad, we had the ward fast, and Dad was driving truck. And I remember him coming home just exhausted because he had been fasting and working, unloading trucks and doing all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, I just could never imagine somebody working as hard as he works. He taught me the value of work, and I've always been appreciative of that.
I remember what
You're all fast. I am.
uh,
David. Hi, you cute thing, you.
I don't know who you're talking to. We're gonna wait for,
To David.
oh, okay. Let David talk for a minute. And then you talk.
Okay, well, I remember
Well,
about,
wait, no, she's
what?
saying, let him finish.
okay,
Give him his time.
yeah, okay. I'm doing that. We're
Go ahead, David, try again.
well, I remember coming back from a trip, and Dad was driving, and he missed the exit. And I thought, oh, it's going to take the next exit. But then they didn't. And I told him after, I guess I shook him up, and he could drive with one eye closed and still drive. And I guess
Did he sleep at the wheel and miss the exit?
yeah, he did. And but I remember Dad, he has to back into this real tight place, and I was standing out there watching, and he just as smooth as everything came right in, and I felt like saying, "That's my dad."
Was this in San Francisco?
No, it was I think it was out in Wairika. But
Well, I remember a lot of tight things had to go into roofing, delivering roofing. It was always under these houses there in San Francisco. Break up those doubles and push it in very tight. It was just a garage with the deck built inside it. Those were really tight. But
What was that one in Berkeley or El Cerrito, Ron? The one I went and watched you throw 480, 100-pound cartons of asphalt. Choo, 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 choo. You just stood on there and threw them.
Those days are gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I figure, but that
Where
was a
was he
pretty tight
throwing
fit
them?
too.
Where was he throwing them?
He was throwing them onto there was a big deck inside of this roofing company, and
Oh,
he went over and he hand stacked the first one row, and then every other one after that, he just threw it and pump, 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 pump perfectly. 480 of them.
are you sure that wasn't me you were watching?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. Of course it was. 100-pound, nothing to you.
Yeah. That's how much I weighed.
But you were throwing husbands.
Yeah. Well,
480 of them.
okay, Maxine, where are you at? to say?
Okay, I got this one remembrance of what I was supposed to say, and then I almost forgot. But always be nice to your restaurant waitresses, because if you don't, they're going to spit in your food.
Oh, let's hope not.
I learned. No, I have very good table manners.
Yeah, well, come back into the screen. You're leaning away from it.
No, somebody had
There
just
you are.
knocked it over.
Okay. Oh, I can't get in. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
you're
centered
good.
now. Very good.
Okay. There I am.
Yeah.
I wanted to I was gonna tell you some stuff, but I can't. Oh, I gotta remember it. Darn. That's it's terrible to keep forgetting everything. Well, what's the next question? I can't.
What the last question was to remind you.
Huh?
Ask what the last question was.
What was their last question? It was about Hey.
What was a lesson that mom or dad taught you that has been the most meaningful or helpful? That was the question that I asked.
oh, well, mine was to stay away from the bad boys.
Did it
listen.
work?
And I didn't always listen, unfortunately. But no, you know what? I learned from mom and dad how to be polite to people. And people has always liked that about me. They think I'm just a nice little old lady, but I am the most polite lady they know. And
Served you well.
So-
and I like people. And I don't know if they taught me to like people, but I do. I really and truly like people. And I believe that it has served me. I have had been in a lot of places where people were unhappy by being sick. And they don't, other people like me because I'm polite and nice to them. And I don't care if they're sick or not.
Kindness.
If you're the nicest person they know, then they need to get out more.
Probably true. Still, but I'm still.
Now that's a good thing to be taught.
Huh?
That's a good thing to be taught. To
Oh,
be
yeah.
kind to everyone.
Very kind. I'm a very kind person. Yes. I was touched by an angel this week. Julie and I had been in the mall and we came out and she was pushing me. I was in a wheelchair and I got kind of messed up in my wheelchair and my shoe was coming off and Julie had to run for the car and left me. And I'm sitting there in pain because my toe had come out of my shoe and I was hurting. And I'm sitting there all by myself, and this lady came up. This lady came up and said, "Oh, I can help you." And she put down her groceries and knelt beside me and undid my shoe and put my toe back in my shoe and fixed my thing back. I said, "Now, dear, you're going to have a much better day than this." And she was angel. And I just want you to know that I'm not supposed to talk like that. But I have to tell you, I was touched by an angel and felt good all the rest of the day.
Good.
Okay, that wasn't the question. That was a
No,
nice
that
story.
wasn't the question.
That
I'm
was a
sorry.
nice story.
Right, go on to another question.
Well, Les hasn't answered this one yet.
Yeah, I want to hear did Lester learn anything from mom or dad?
They probably told me lots. It just sort of went right away. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, Barbara and I were laying on the bed watching TV, and I just glanced over and there were some pictures on the wall, and I asked her, "How long have those been here? How long have those pictures been on the wall?" She looked at me and said, 28 years, ever since we moved here. I don't really have a good spatial awareness is the thing.
Jeez,
I've gone through life with blinders on, and I didn't realize it until much later in life. But there's just so much that happened on the periphery of my life that I just never noticed. And a lot of it was I needed somebody to come right up to me and tell me something before it stuck.
It's called ADHD.
Yeah, I'm sure I had more H's than anybody else, but yeah, it was and that was before they, I think, had any real medical diagnosis for it, did they back then?
You
So,
are.
and everything I've tried to do. I've tried 2 different trade schools and tried as hard as I could to learn what they were teaching, but the stuff hits and it washes away. And I learned things by repetition. But these 2 trade schools, they throw a lot of information at you, expect you to retain it and be able to apply it right away. That was Computer Learning Center, where I was trying to learn programming, and the FAA Academy, where I tried to learn to be air traffic controller. The day I failed that one, the skies became safer by far. So but I mean, that was 10 weeks of my life where I tried so hard because I wanted that job. I wanted to, have that government career for my family. I was terrible. I was just absolutely horrible at it. And my score showed it. It was deplorable. In that thing, you make 70.00 or above and you have a job. 69.99 or below and you're fired. But for 10 weeks, I was a government employee.
Well, ADHD, I mean, you've got it, I've got it, and
Me too.
Linda has some.
Some.
It's a family thing. It's inherited, but I didn't know I had it until I was over 50. Diane's the one that told me I had it because she'd seen some kind of a show on it and said, "That's Ron." And I'll tell you, we went down and I got diagnosed with it, and the guy gave me some
Adderall or something?
Well, not Adderall. Adderall came after. What was the other one before it?
Prozac, not Prozac.
Huh?
Nothing. I said the wrong one.
No.
Ritalin?
Huh?
Ritalin?
Yeah, Ritalin.
Ritalin. Yeah.
I was given Ritalin, and boy, I'll tell you, first time I took that, it was a whole new world for me. It was just like a dark cloud just lifted off my brain, and wow, that's clear thinking. Now, just amazing to me. And I took Ritalin for several years there. And 10 milligram would last me 4 hours, 20 would last me 8 hours. And I'd take that every day when I go to work and stuff. Then I started finding that 10 milligrams only went to 3 hours, and 20 milligrams went to, what did I say, 6 hours. So I realized I was getting addicted to it. And so I started cutting back on it. But then I went on to Adderall. Ritalin would give you a quick zip up, clear your head, but then when it ran out, you're back down. Adderall would be a slower lift, last a little longer, and let you down easy, not just drop off. I remember when David and I were coming back from Las Vegas, we were flying back, and he was dreading having to fly or drive all the way back to Fairfield because he was so tired. I gave him a half a Ritalin. He couldn't go back to sleep. I think he was up most that night trying to sleep. That
Dosing
stuff
him
is
up.
really potent speed, you know.
Mhm.
I wish I'd been diagnosed for it then. Oh well.
That sounds like one of my stories about why I did not become a drug addict from the hippie days, and I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay, what's the next question?
Okay, next question. Maybe this one is something that Les would have an easier time answering.
Oh, it's
Is there
written in
anything?
crayon?
Is there anything that makes you think of mom and dad, like a song or a
What?
food or an item?
Hear what he said?
Is there anything that always makes
I
you
didn't
think
hear
of
the
mom and dad?
question.
That's because he never finished it.
No, I said, is there anything that always makes you think of mom and dad? Like a food or song or an item?
Les, do you want to go first on that one?
Sure. Nobody anywhere makes
Yeah, yeah.
macaroni and cheese as good as mom.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't hear the question.
It was what we talked about earlier. Mom. What memories, a song or food or something that makes you think of grandma and grandpa? Something you did?
Yeah.
There was something that you were remembering, that song, you remember?
Oh,
Les is
Give
answering
her a
right
pen.
now. Let
What?
Lester finish his answer.
Give her a pen, write it down.
cigarettes and whiskey and wild women. They'll drive you crazy. They'll drive you insane. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild women. They'll drive you crazy. They'll drive you insane. We used to all sing that together. I used to know another part of it, but I can't remember it now. I like
I remember when we had sing beautiful, beautiful brown eyes. We'll never love blue eyes again. David would
Yeah.
cry. David would get upset.
I like his cigarettes and whiskey better.
Well,
yeah.
who remembers here hath come dawning another new day. Think, wilt thou let it slip useless away? He used to come in early in the morning with that. Here hath
Every
come
morning.
dawning. And
That was later.
You
I never
sleep.
got that.
You never got that? Wow.
No, we never
Wow.
got that.
I'm with you on the mac and cheese though, Les.
Yeah, nobody makes. I love mac and cheese, but I can't eat. Nobody makes it
Taglioni.
like mom.
Taglioni.
Oh yeah, taglioni was great. You know, Barb tried to make that for me once.
Don't forget
The
taglioni.
only thing she left out was noodles.
Oh.
Other than that, it was perfect.
The gluten-free taglioni.
Yeah.
So I try to make mom's Red Devil's food cake, and I have had to try so many adjustments at the altitude or the elevation that we're at up here. We're at about 5,000 feet. So it always sinks in the middle. And I've tried,
I think you
looked
did.
up how to adjust it and I've gotten it. So I've almost gotten it right, but Boy, it's hard.
Probably, you
This
probably didn't
elevation.
put in, you probably didn't put in hot coffee.
Oh,
That's
it's
right.
hot water, not hot
Yeah,
coffee.
no, she did
Yeah,
hot coffee.
That's
the
right.
difference.
Coffee was the secret ingredient.
Right.
Well, the recipe says hot boiling water.
Yeah,
It doesn't
because she
say
didn't
hot.
want to put it in the Mormon cookbook,
Cookbook.
the coffee. So no one knew the secret ingredient was hot coffee.
Well, I don't think
Thanks.
that's what's making it fall. It's the
Yeah.
elevation here, but yeah.
Well, coffee would keep it up.
That's right.
Yeah. Just crush up some Adderall and put in there. That'll keep it
No.
up too, right?
That'd probably make it high and fluffy.
Yeah.
Mrs. Island's cake wins for the 4th year in a row. So
No,
say
that
the
was Eight
judges.
Ball's fruitcake that won. Remember when Eight Ball used to give out fruitcakes to all their customers on Christmas time?
Oh, that must have been a long time ago.
I know it was, but
Oh,
They
yeah.
probably
boy,
still
when they
have
gave
them.
them out, I love that fruitcake. It was the best one ever. It had so much brandy.
Oh, Ron and his cake. That was so good. You haven't done that in a long time. But you really did. You got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The only one that could do grandma's cake.
graham cake.
Well, that's graham cake you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm up.
Graham cake, yeah, that was my specialty. I finally learned how to do it right. And
You know, Mama
can't
was so
find
good
graham
at,
cake.
at making so many things and everything, but she never taught us to cook.
What?
At least I
No.
didn't learn anything
Me
about
either.
cooking.
Me
Well-
either. I could make cookies or help make a salad. That was it.
Or
Are you
breakfast.
sure you just didn't want to learn?
Only thing I learned to do well is dishes.
yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we did dishes.
Now,
Mom liked
They
to
have
cook, so
dishwasher.
we didn't, weren't really taught
and I don't do
how
those.
to do it.
I have to say that for my birthday this last year, Amanda baked me grandma's graham cake.
Where did you
Because-
get the
Really?
graham flour? I can't
The
get
graham
graham
flour,
flour.
she ordered it online.
I
It was
went
three-
to,
It was like $5 a pound. I mean, it was really expensive, but she
For
ordered
graham?
it. She
For
made
graham?
it and it turned out beautifully. It was
Oh.
so good.
I would like to know where she got the flour because I ordered online too, and it turned out to be a white, hard granulated flour. It was not graham flour though.
Really? Well, you know,
Yeah.
you can just use whole wheat flour as an
Well,
alternative.
Whole wheat's okay, but it doesn't have that certain
No, it doesn't.
of graham.
I will have her get you the information. Yeah, it turned out lovely. It was such a
Do
good.
that. I would love it.
That's-
Heck,
And
get that.
Susan wants the recipe.
It's in the,
It's in the full,
yeah, it's in the
cookbook.
cookbook, the Walnut Creek cookbook.
Is there any little things we should know about that?
Yes, you need to soak the raisins. Put about as much, you put the raisins in a saucepan and then you put that much water over it and let it cook. And so the raisins are soft and plump. And you add that whole thing with the water when you add your water to your mix, to your flour and egg and all the rest of the stuff. That's the key.
Good.
Yeah.
So good.
Nobody
I should
taught
have
me how
told
to
you I
cook
gave away
anything.
a secret. secret.
I can't cook anything. I burn water.
Yeah.
Well,
Good thing Barbara can cook. Boy.
David, do you remember anything? Ask David if he remembers.
Yeah,
I think
Dad,
they've
did
dropped
you-
out on us.
No, he's still here. Dad, did you have something that always makes you think of mom and dad? Of your mom and dad, I should say.
Did what? Is there something that always makes you think of mom and
I know I'm trying to get
dad?
trying to get
We're
Dad,
trying to get-
trying to get David to respond.
I don't.
I see him thinking. Dad, do you have something?
I don't know.
David, when you look at all your brothers and sisters, must make you think of mom and dad.
and all the mistakes they made, myself included.
Why don't you ask him another question?
Before we go on to another question, how about as after cigarettes and whiskey, the thing that I always remember is get off the table, Mabel. The 2 bits is for the beer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
remember
sorry,
that.
I had to throw
What?
that one out.
Never heard of it. Never heard that.
Oh,
Off the table,
must-
Mabel, the $2 is for the beer.
oh, 2 bits. It's not $2. 2 bits for the beer.
2
Okay,
bits.
The 2 bits is for the
updating
beer.
it.
I mean, come on, this
Okay.
was from the 30s.
you're
or
right,
something,
you're
you
right.
know? Yeah.
Well, this
Sorry.
is in the
It-
2000s. It's $2.
A little more than that, maybe.
When we lived on Scenic Avenue, one of the popular songs was Mockingbird Hill. And I remember Mom singing that all the time. And every time I hear that song, I think of Mom. And several of the songs, actually. One of the greatest things is when we'd travel and we'd always sing songs. Mom loved to sing. We learned how to sing all these different songs. It was a lot of fun.
You know, I
That's-
never heard Mom sing, ever.
Well,
You know,
Yeah.
would sing in church and she'd barely produce any noise whatsoever.
But Candi and I learned the songs of Petula Clark and all the 8 tracks we had while we were on vacation.
Yeah.
Maxine, you
Very lucky.
remember?
yeah,
Mom?
but we didn't have a radio half the time, and so we sang.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mom would always open the door and get out and say, "Oh, what a beautiful morning."
Yep.
That was
Oh,
Yeah, pictures of
I'm known in my neighborhood for that. I would go out early in the morning and sing that. Oh, what a beautiful morning. I had neighbors clap.
And then you went back
Because I
inside and
was
put
so
clothes on,
happy.
right?
Beautiful morning. I was just so excited. Maybe they were clapping for something else, but I think
Yeah.
it was because I was doing all this
Well,
singing.
when you went back in and put clothes on, then they stopped clapping.
Well,
Huh?
I don't know. After
comment, okay.
I worked nights and I'd get home early in the morning and I'd pick up my dog, the German Shepherd at the time. Say, come on, let's go this beautiful day. The night is finally over. Off we go. What a beautiful morning it is. Sing, what a beautiful morning. Pretty soon it keep clapping at the windows for me. Well, that was a while back. I haven't had to do that for a while.
Now you would have a million hits on YouTube and the police show up.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next question I had was favorite family vacation.
Oh, vacation.
So many. I tell you what, I walk every morning around the neighborhood here, and in the summer especially, but sometimes even in the winter, there's always somebody cooking, and it smells like it's cooking breakfast outdoors. And whenever I get that smell of like pancakes or bacon or eggs that are cooking on an outdoor fire, it's like, oh my gosh, it takes me right back to camping in Oregon, Washington, or wherever else. That experience that I have, it just reminds me, some of my happiest memories are camping with the folks.
Trailering?
And Aunt Emma and Uncle Earl, with traveling with them. It's just, I don't know, just glorious times.
We couldn't afford vacations. I don't remember taking, but maybe a couple. We went up to Russian River before with Mom and Dad and camped out. And then I didn't like it anymore because I remember big slugs were out. I didn't care for camping.
You
And then
remember going to
another time-
Russian River in the back of the truck on the trailer?
Oh,
I remember Russian River.
scared me half to death.
No, he had the flatbed and he had this racks on the side and then he'd put a tarp over that and we and the neighbors and whoever else went camping with us, we'd drive to Russian River.
Yep.
And
I
when we had to
remember.
make a pit stop, he'd pull over and women one side, guys the other side. And
I don't remember.
it was a
that.
lot of fun. That's where I learned how to swim in the Russian
Oh.
River. We did a lot of camping there and that was fantastic.
Did any of you first generations go with them to Gualala?
I went there, not with them.
They
Well,
hear,
la, la.
I can't hear. I need you to hear me. What? I need you to hear that going.
Did you go to Guadalajara?
Gualala up on the California coast.
Yeah, it's Eastern Oregon. And
No, it isn't.
yeah, I
Oh, it
remember.
isn't. It's in
It's in
California.
California.
It's in California. It's not far from here. Gualala.
We used to go to Gualala was where our ward would go. Walnut Creek First Ward used to go up together. Yeah, so
that was-
these guys wouldn't have had anything to do with that. Linda, I think you went, you pulled a trailer up there with us one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Did you
were
ever
fun.
go to Gualala? Gualala?
Gualala.
I don't think.
Gualala.
Malawa up in Oregon.
Not Walawa. Gualala. With a
This is with a
G.
G.
Gualala.
Gualala.
Oh,
Golf uniform
Maybe.
alpha. I think my favorite vacation was one year when we did a tour of all the rodeos in the Western states. I'm sure we didn't hit all of them, but it was just one stop after another, going to all the different rodeos. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did. We started with the big one, Calgary Stampede. Then we came down and we did Frontier Days in Cheyenne. Then we hit another rodeo in Sheridan, Wyoming. I remember I lived that.
Well, those sound like a little fancier vacations than we
Yeah.
used to kid as a kid. Did
Well,
we
we're
just
not
take
sorry.
off? Huh?
We're not sorry. We deserved
Oh,
it.
no. But we would take off in the car with the loaf of bread and what did we stop and get something to put on it once in a while and
bologna.
salami or mayonnaise, yeah. And make that was our lunches and stuff.
That's on our Sunday drive.
Yes,
Was it?
Sunday drive on the damn road.
Yeah. So we like that damn road so we could
We
say.
like the damn road because we could swear. Yes.
David, do you remember vacations with mom and dad?
Well, I remember we were in the trailer and there was it went down
In a canyon.
they didn't have a rock or anything on it, and it just went down.
Uh-oh.
And we
Was it fun?
Oh, David.
Well, I remember us trailering together and David and I, we were at this one campground and this other family was there with a couple of girls about our age. We went and hustled them for that evening. I don't know if David remembers that, but that was one of our trailer trips up to Oregon.
You hustled them? What exactly does
Well,
that
we
mean?
went and flirted with them.
Oh, okay.
Something.
Now,
What it
who was
sounded
it?
like.
Who was it that got dad to eat a watermelon
Sandwich.
sandwich?
Hmm?
I remember water skiing
Wasn't me.
in Oregon with Ron and I could get up and ski, and that's where we learned.
I miss water skiing.
Did you hear anything he said?
I never could get up.
Water skiing. Oh,
Oh,
Keep telling Kurt, boy, I'd love to buy a boat. I want to go skiing. I love boating and he hates the water. So I don't think that's going to happen.
A lot of work.
What's your other
Yeah.
question, Caleb?
Actually, before we go on to the next one, just talking of family vacation, I kind of wanted to prompt if there were maybe vacations you did when you were older. Like offhand, I remember going to Pollock Pines with Grandpa and Dad and a few others. I mean, is that something that anybody else did, like when they were older,
Oh,
go
yeah.
to camping at Pollock Pines with them?
I don't know. It wasn't really camping. Dad went up there to cut firewood.
Right.
He went up there with Bill Boatwright. Yeah, Howard, let's go on up and cut some wood.
Yeah,
Howard, Howard.
Yeah.
That's
were you
Bill
talking
Boatwright.
about Grandpa coming on your
That's
rafting
funny.
trips?
So he
Oh,
took his
yeah.
Dad poured a concrete slab up there and parked his ideal trailer up there.
Yeah.
And then he put a tank higher up the hill and with a pump pumped water up to it and just
Right.
let the water pressure flow down into the trailer.
Oh, wait a minute. I went up to Pollock Pines and brought him a container. Does anyone know what that was? I don't remember.
That was probably his worst idea because
It was
somebody broke in, stole his Jeep and his chainsaws out of it.
really. All I know is I took this thing up there and it was tough getting it in.
Oh yeah, I imagine there's switchbacks and everything
Yeah.
down there.
It was not
Well,
fun.
Daddy came on one of our rafting trips, didn't he, Linda?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
No?
Not-
Yes.
No, me
Yes,
and
he
Barb
did. Yeah, Grandpa went on one of them. At least.
He did.
We have pictures of him on the rafting trip. Yeah.
Oh, I wanna
Just
see
Dad,
those.
not Mom.
No, not Grandma. Just
Okay.
Just
I mean,
Grandpa.
it was pretty impressive that Grandpa went at his age. So yeah.
Well, Barbara and I
Yeah,
had to go
yeah.
because Ron and Diane chickened out.
What?
Yeah. Last minute. Oh, we have these tickets for this rafting trip. You want them? Of course, I would have said no, but you offered them to Barbara, and she's, please, can we go, baby? Absolutely.
Be difficult.
It was always fun.
This family.
Number one, I don't like
Holy people.
camping at all. And boy, I was sore after that first day. You don't use these muscles and these muscles on a daily basis. Oh man. Of course, we tried following Maxine and Linda down, which is like the Keystone Cops on a raft.
Well, that's
Well,
pretty
It's
accurate.
because we went down backwards most of the time
Yeah.
and trying to fish Maxine out of the water all the time.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
better
following
than
two-
to leave her.
Yeah.
Following two nutty teenager girls down.
We had so much fun on those
Yeah.
whitewater trips, Linda.
Yeah.
We talked people into going that really shouldn't have gone and ended up having to save their lives.
For
Yeah.
them save you.
No, they didn't save us.
No,
Okay.
he didn't need saving. Well, Harry did save us a few times.
No, I'm talking about the secretary that she and her friend came along one time. Remember? And on the very first turn,
Teresa?
yeah, and not Teresa,
Linda.
yeah.
Okay.
And we had to rescue them and put one in my boat and one in your boat because we had to split them up.
Should have left that one on an island.
And it was very difficult making them feel safe.
Like
Say.
they used to. Yeah.
You should have left her on an island somewhere.
We did
Linda
good.
Brazil. That one? Is that who you took?
Linda.
Brazil?
No.
Was
No,
that the one that
No.
robbed
Oh,
eight ball
no.
with Mike?
What was
That's
her
the one that
name? Huh?
Committed fraud.
Laney.
Yeah,
Laney, not Laney, she didn't go.
no, but Linda Brazil took up with Mike Chapman and they stole from
this-
the company.
This isn't Linda Brazil. This
Okay.
is Linda
Okay.
something else. I forget her name now.
Okay. Naturally, you'd forget somebody named Linda.
That's right.
Wasn't Linda Child, was it?
Who knew?
Okay. So, how about a favorite Christmas memory?
Oh, that's the best. We always had good Christmases, huh? I had the best of all. I had a car, a wonderful green car.
What was it?
Ugliest Hudson outfit they made.
Huh?
It was the ugliest Hudson that was made.
Yes,
Mine was the Hudson, I think.
that Hudson. Yeah,
Oh, maybe hers.
that was wonderful. But we had other good things.
I remember on Stockton Street.
On the what?
Stockton Street, I remember as a kid, I wanted a bicycle so bad.
Yes.
And we didn't have any money. I just knew I wasn't going to get that. And I remember when I came out, and saw it, and is that mine? And Maxine was there jumping up and down. That's yours, that's yours, that's yours. And that was probably the neatest Christmas.
That sounds like you were when I got my car. Yes,
Yeah.
Maxine. Yes, it's your car. Yeah.
Take me.
Well, you opened up a key. You
Huh?
opened up one of your presents. It was the last present, and you opened up, and it was a key.
Yeah.
Key,
That's what
key,
Mon's.
the key to your car. That
Oh yeah.
That was
Should have
fun.
been the key
That
to
was
your chastity
the
belt, but it was
presents.
the key to your
Everybody
car.
got presents but me. And then I got that one key. That was great.
So when you turned 18, did they give you a key to your chastity belt?
Did you hear that?
don't even,
Don't-
not a name. So Mom, you had a memory of your family that maybe you could throw in, you wanted to talk about. I don't remember what category we were gonna address it in, but why don't you tell them your memories about the support you got from your siblings when you would go out on a date.
Oh,
Support.
whenever I went out on a date, yes, this is one of my wonderful memories. Whenever I had a date to go to one of those dances, and I would come down this white staircase, all dressed like the princess or something. And all of you were at the bottom of the stairs there. Yay, Maxine. You guys were all little guys and thinking that I was the princess. And I thought I was. That's one of my good memories of when I was young. I had so much fun as a teenager.
Because your siblings were all excited for you. They were happy for you. They were going
Yeah.
out on a date, going to a dance.
Well, they were excited for me because I went on dates.
We were excited that somebody finally asked you out.
You're not acting excited.
Nobody's remembering it but you, huh?
You don't remember?
I remember you always had to have, your date always had to come in and meet everybody.
That's right.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
so embarrassed all the time. And I was so happy. I loved all the guys you went out with.
I know.
Made sure
I
you were
know.
just perfect.
I remember a snake,
A
Uh,
snake.
big long snake. And
Huh?
Oh,
I
that's
missed that.
Christmas.
Is this a
I
dating
miss
story
somebody
or
being
Christmas
excited
story?
for me.
Was that the big green one?
Huh?
yeah,
Big green snake.
yeah. And he ended up in the back of my car.
Oh, yeah. It's when they gave us those stuffed animals.
I remember the snake.
So is this a live snake or a stuffed animal?
No, no,
Oh,
big,
stuffed.
big stuff.
Were you afraid of it, David?
Probably got him some chicks. Who knows? Strap a girl in with the seatbelt and say, "Don't make any sudden moves. The snake's looking at you."
I got a stuffed wolf that I carried in my car.
But I remember where
Had a stuffed shirt in mine.
we would get an animal or a person, and you would. I got a black person, pigtails,
What is they talking?
and
Was that a doll? Was that a doll?
yeah,
He had a black doll with pigtails all over.
yeah.
Anything to get through the carpool lane.
Is that a Cupid doll?
I mean, was it full size or human size?
I remember Mrs. Brown, but she was concerned because I was marrying a Missouri gal, and she was from Missouri, and but I told her it's not like that, and she was all right with it. We went to several other meetings. Remember when we went to her funeral
Yes.
and they asked us if we were a family?
Yeah. And what did you say?
Oh, I didn't like this. I'd like to say something, but I wanted to say we are family.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we moved the other way,
Yeah.
and but I spoke at Mrs. Brown's funeral.
She always liked you best, David.
Huh?
She always liked you best.
Oh, Mrs. Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. Mrs. Brown always loved him.
Yeah.
Well, she is also partial to Candi too.
Yeah, a little bit. Except that when Candi looked at her in the mirror with her, she told Mrs. Brown, "Ooh, your face is real dirty."
Better wash your
Yeah.
face because it's really
Yeah.
dirty. Yeah, I don't remember her being real partial to me though. That's
David was her baby. David was her favorite.
Yeah, David
Yeah.
was definitely her favorite.
I remember stories about where Les would come home from kindergarten and would sing all of the songs that he learned there to Mrs. Brown, because I remember Mom used to say, and his kindergarten teacher didn't teach him, all these cutesy little songs, taught him things like, folk songs like, I've been working on the railroad. He'd come home from kindergarten and Mrs. Brown would be ironing and Les would pop out, sing one song. How'd you like that one, Mrs. Brown? She'd go, "Oh, that's real nice, Lester. That's real nice." Well, let me, and then it'd sing another one. "That's real nice, Lester. That's real nice."
Mrs. Brown was fantastic. We were all blessed by her being taking care of us all those years. Saved me from the daycare center.
Yeah. Yes, all of
I
us.
guess that's real nice was probably her own code for not saying shut the hell up, boy.
I remember going
I don't
over.
remember saying.
I went over to Mrs. Brown's house for some reason or other, and there were her husband and a couple other black guys. They were sitting there, and they were all laughing. And the one guy says, "Well, you know, darn good and well, God's white." He said he wouldn't treat us like this otherwise, you know. I don't know, something like that. It was terrible. I was so embarrassed.
I liked Mom's story about when she hired Mrs. Brown. Do you guys remember
yeah.
that? You know, where she
Yeah.
said she came over to interview.
Oh, I
She
remember
tried for-
that.
Huh?
I remember that interview. And she stood there and she came all dressed up, decked out.
Because she came from
Very-
church, right?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Mom tried to make her at ease, but
She tried to make her sit down and have coffee.
yeah.
Never did until I don't know how many years later. I don't know.
Well, Mom said that she eventually, she'd come in and Mrs. Brown, she was sitting at the table taking a break. She'd jump up and start scurrying about. And Mom said, finally, I just told her, Mrs. Brown, you sit down here right now. And she sat down and they had a heart to heart. And
Yeah.
that was what broke the ice. And after that, Mom said that she couldn't believe the stories that Mrs. Brown told her about growing up in the South. It was,
I do remember that.
and it's so interesting at this point, this day and age with everything that we know and, everything we learned on, the stuff that we learned because of the internet and everything else, that knowledge is so readily available, how really sheltered Mom was, that she didn't know what life was like for Blacks in the South. And I don't know, I just thought that was it's really interesting to look back on that now. I remember when Martin Luther King was assassinated and sitting in the living room and seeing the footage on the news and sitting there with Mom, and Mom started crying. She cried about it, and she said, you just don't know what this means. I mean, that really affected her. And I think it was all because of Mrs. Brown, that was such a paradigm shift for her to understand a world that she had no exposure to, no understanding of. Anyway.
We were all kind of, oh, go ahead, David.
He would drive up in her Cadillac and park. It was paradoxical. Because he served us. No, she served us long before she needed to.
Yeah, she was the maid, but she drove up in the Cadillac.
Yeah.
We're out there with the Ford or something.
That was a interesting birthday party we gave for Mama
Our mom.
on Scenic Road, where that house
Scenic
she
Avenue.
lived in, and we had and we put a big sign on the car that somebody could buy it cheap. Remember?
Wasn't that the garage, wasn't that the garage sale party?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that was
garage
when we
sale
lived on
party.
Blackwood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was that Blackwood
really a
drive.
good party.
And every one of you had something to do with that.
Yes, we
Not
all.
me.
You don't remember that, Candy?
I think I was in Panama at the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
wasn't
would've-
anywhere around.
you would have remembered this because
I saw pictures.
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
hilarious.
her cake was leftover cake that was for somebody else.
With a beer
Yeah.
can on it.
Right.
That was
We got
happy
some-
birthday, Joe, or something.
Yeah, and Ron, you were the master of ceremonies. Oh yes. Everybody had presents.
There
Oh
was-
yes, the gifts could not be more than $2.98 or something like that, and so she got some interesting presents. Who was it that? I think it was Susan that bought expensive chocolates and
Lemon chocolate.
and had a bite taken out of it
Yeah.
because it couldn't go to $3. And
I got her a gift certificate from iMagnons for $2.99. And you don't think that was pretty funny at the store.
that's right.
I was thinking I was $299.
I picked the nicest, most beautiful outfit for her from a thrift store. Bright, and it cost less than $3. And the women just, couldn't get over the fact that I bought such a wonderful found a gift like that for my mother.
Do you remember what
How
you got,
glad
David?
she was going to be when she saw that.
Do
You don't
what
remember
guys
that?
got?
These all sound like great memories. I wish I had some of them.
You didn't
Well,
get, oh, you
that
went-
was one of our favorite.
How about the yacht party? Does anyone remember that?
That was
The
their
what?
50th anniversary.
The yacht party.
Yacht party. Oh, that one
It
was.
was a birthday party for Mama.
No, that was the 50th anniversary, wasn't it?
Yes, and we
Yeah.
got to ride in a car that ran out of gas.
That's a limousine.
The little limo ran
Yeah.
out of gas on the way to the party, so we were late.
And the yacht looked like it was ready to sink.
Oh, and all of the expensive, wonderful food that was from
Costco.
Costco. Yeah.
They provided all of it. They
You-
provided all of that.
Oh my. Oh, that was the
I think it was your
disaster.
friend, David, that did that. You were supposed to do it, but your friend got the yacht. Huh? That was a birthday.
Yeah. And we were gonna impress her friends with this party. Ah,
Yeah, they invited the Levi Strauss people. and
yes,
the
yes.
doctor, the dentist, and everything.
Let them know that we know how to.
And then we all stood there in Berkeley. and we
Really
looked at
do a
this
party
broken
upright.
down, broken down yacht, but it was a
Oh,
great party.
the yacht was just an awful place. Oh,
It was a
yeah.
birthday party because I remember the banner up. They said they'd take care of everything. They have decorations.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy was David's friend, and he was the one that set this all up. And we said, "Oh, we want to come and decorate." "Oh, don't worry, they're going to do
Yeah.
all the decorating." And they had some leftover from New Year's or something, and limp
Yeah.
things, and this sign that was drooping, and it was happy something or other. I don't remember what it was. It was awful. It was terrible.
What anniversary was it
But it
that
was
we
fun.
rented the Presidio San Francisco?
Oh, you did that. That was their 50th.
Yeah, but what anniversary was that? I thought that was their 50th, was it not?
No, 50th was the yacht. I remember that.
Dawn went with Sheila.
I don't remember the Presidio one.
Oh, Candi, you're talking about Mom and Dad's 50th anniversary. You
Yeah.
set it up, I think, at the officers.
Yeah, it was the Officers Club at the Presidio of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I thought
Oh,
that was
that
their
one.
50th anniversary.
That was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I dressed up really pretty for it.
I
You
don't remember
remember?
that one.
Nobody knew who I was because
Yeah.
I had so much makeup on.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have video of all of us talking at that one. We kind
Yeah.
of roasted them, didn't we, or something? Or we all made little speeches, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Mom actually got up and took the microphone at the end and thanked everybody for coming, which was a shocker.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. That
Really?
Lester, were you at that party? Hello?
Yeah, we were all there.
Oh, okay.
was
Yeah.
I there?
And
I don't
everybody
remember.
gave
You were
a
there.
speech.
Yeah, everybody made a speech.
Oh,
Andy and I came back from North Carolina to be there.
We got a little bit better at doing parties after that. A
Okay.
few mistakes.
Yeah. That was David's friend.
Which friend?
Oh,
Who was that, McFarland? Or
He's not going to answer, but,
is
huh?
that McFarland? Mike McFarland?
No, no, that's
Oh.
Ron's friend. No, who was that guy? He was, I can't remember his name, but I think he was the, a salesman or something there that David knew. Do you remember David? You
No.
turned that over to him. He was going to be the one that picked the yacht out. We saw it. We about died. We saw it. Never mind. Go ahead.
What was it? Was it Gilligan's Yacht or something? I don't remember it.
You don't remember?
I don't remember the Presidio one. So
Wow,
We've
you
got
guys
two
have
different
bad memories.
timelines that have converged here, and I guess. Okay, so we didn't actually get too many people that actually answered the Christmas memory. We had a couple people, and then we kind of went into some other tangents. Did anybody have another Christmas story they wanted to share?
I feel like we talked about Christmas a lot the first time we met. We talked about, because I know we talked about Les when he got his car, and Maxine got her car, and
And when Dad would always at the bottom of the stairs and say, ho, 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 and we all had to pretend to be asleep because we couldn't get up.
we'd sneak down the stairs early and look around, and then go back upstairs.
That
yeah.
was you, Ron. You were bad. Come
No,
back.
I wasn't alone going down.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah.
were.
You and David, yeah, always trying to sneak, but we'd catch you.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite Christmas memories were usually when the whole family got together and came over to the house Christmas Eve. And, I remember the last time that we all exchanged gifts with everybody. We bought gifts for all the nieces and nephews and all that. And we have a picture of the gifts. They took up the entire living room of that house on Blackwood. And after that, we started drawing names.
Yeah.
But Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, it kind of went back and forth through the years, but that was my favorite part of Christmas, was when everybody came over.
Yeah, Christmas Eve was exciting.
We would read the Christmas story and sing Christmas carols before we could open presents.
Sylvia was always the one that told the stories, read the stories for us. Christmas.
We had those little
Remember all
Christmas
the
songbooks.
Christmases that we had over in San Francisco when we'd meet with the Rains. And Childs and Rains would get together and have our Christmas Eves. We'd drive over to San Francisco, and
Yeah.
I remember one Christmas, all the boys got a white shirt and a tie.
Exciting.
We were trying to figure out what's all this about. That's when they're getting us to go to church and stuff
And
like
an
this.
employment application for a restaurant.
That's for you to go to work with.
Hey, Ron, do you remember where you guys took when Dad bought the Fairlane from the guy across the street from the Wright Avenue yard? He bought that ugly yellow Fairlane for me. You remember where you guys took it to have it painted black?
I don't
Earl
remember.
Scheib. You took it to Earl Scheib, and I remember you saying, "Well, they took it into the room where they bake on the paint. There was a light bulb working here and one working over there, and one." And the first gravel road I hit, I found out what color it was before it was black. All this yellow paint coming through, chipped all along the base of the car
Oh,
because Earl Shab was so cheap.
Yeah, yep. Well, it
But
cost
hey,
$29 to get the whole
yeah,
car painted.
it was worth all $10 of it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
probably overpaid.
yeah, that car was a piece of work. I mean, they drove it all the way just across the street to the yard. And who was it? Will Harvey popped the hood and looked under there and said, "This engine's junk." That was the original 390. It was junk. So they find another engine sitting on a pallet in the yard. Nobody knows where it came from, but they decided to put it in my car. It was an old 352 or 351 or something. And the thing ran like crap forever. And I would be trying to cruise the main with my friends. I had like 6 people in this car and it's chunking along. And I remember one time I had a CB in the car and I came out of the Gemco parking lot. Remember Gemco over there
yeah.
on Main
Yeah.
Street? And I floored it and wow, it's going good. And the pedal stayed on the floor and I'm going, whoa, now going down Locust Street, picking up speed. Everybody's going nuts in the car. Automatic. I just put it in neutral and turned the engine off and rolled over to the side. Everybody in this car is just having a heart attack. So I called on the CB for help, and some guy with a CB handle, Crazy Al, came, opened the hood, said, "Oh yeah, you bent your accelerator rod here. Let me fix that for you." Started beating on something under the hood with a pipe wrench or something. So he got it from this to this. So I drove everybody home, reaching down and pulling back on the accelerator to slow it down. What a car.
What a memory.
What a memory.
Cool memory.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I remember my 55 Plymouth, which was really hot car. That was back in 58. And supposedly it was a V8 and everything else. My plugs were so bad, it needed to tune up so bad. And I had a Volkswagen challenge me to a drag. And he almost beat me because my car ran so bad.
I actually
Well,
pulled up next to somebody and goosed him at the light to try and get him to race in that car. And as soon as I hit the throttle, it died. And the other guy took off. I finally caught up to him at the next light. He just looked over and shook his head and took off.
I remember Candi on one Christmas giving us all a recipe book that Mom had. And do you remember that, Candi?
Yeah.
And she made one up for all of us, and it's treasured.
That's been since I've lived in Utah that I
Mhm.
got those made. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really neat.
Is that the ones where you still have here?
That
Huh?
was the,
That one Richmond?
yes.
Richmond
Yeah.
Oh,
Workbook.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's got grandma's graham cake recipe in it.
Yeah.
Like I say, you have to know how to do it to make it really come out right. And if I ever get that graham cake flour again, I'll build them again.
Yeah.
You put a pound of walnuts and a pound of raisins in it. And boy, it's one of my favorite cakes, but
Yeah, me too.
won't find graham flour in the stores anymore.
No.
And I would love German bar cookies, but if Barb ever made them, I would put on 200 pounds in a week. So somebody made them for me, but they didn't ice them. It's not the same.
No.
Gotta have that
What's the
icing on
point?
there. Huh?
What's the
Yeah.
point without the
Really?
icing?
Yeah. I think you made them. I think you were the one who made them, Candi.
No, without the icing,
Yeah,
I would always
think
ice
so.
them. Oh,
Maybe it was Diane. I asked somebody to make some for me, and
You guys remember that I had a 54 Austin Healey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool
That
car.
that was great. I could lean over and drag my hands on the street.
Never paid for a pedicure, huh? Or a manicure.
But that was, well,
It was red.
my mission call, I said, sell it so that you can pay some of my mission. And yes,
We bought that from Carl. It was a repo.
he he wrecked it.
Who wrecked it?
Yeah.
Who?
Richard.
Oh, Richie.
Good cabin.
He let some girl drive it and she wrecked it.
Uh, typical. Woman driver.
But I remember we were next to the above the temple, and we were kind of waiting, and some Corvette came and sprayed us. We hopped in and chased it, and I could in the corners I can get that line. Then I get a straight ahead. Well, he would get way ahead, and then I get up to the corners again, and I get him back. But I remember these I remember the tires only they weren't like the radials. And I go in a corner and I could slide around and get around the corners.
Yeah.
But
David,
it was
David's.
we met up there where they were some of them that met anyway. I spun around and took off, and he tried to catch me, and I just
What car was that?
it was the 54 Austin Healey.
Oh,
But
didn't you get a special car on your 70th birthday?
what?
Didn't you get a special car on your birthday, 70, I believe?
No,
That's when he got his Z finished.
I swore I bought it and I overhauled it, and
I remember that.
And but uh he said that my Corvette wasn't running right. And I said, my 4-cylinder is running real good. Of course, we're there, we're so hyped up about shaking anyway. But anyway,
It's a good story.
Did I hear a story? One of you tell a story once that
what?
the Austin Healey wasn't running real good, and then you tuned it up so it was running perfect, and Dad got in it and lit it up going down the street or something like that.
I overhauled it. I took the pistons out. They were in my hands. They were shattered, and I put high class rings, and they sent the head out, and he had to put Ford valves in it because he couldn't put regular valves in it. That thing just would take off. I could beat any. I can beat any
Any
If-
wheel, never mind. Keep my mouth shut.
well,
Well, I remember that car because we bought it. And it was a repo that Carl, he was in the finance business and he had repoed it and he sold it to us cheap.
yeah.
And I went on my mission and you ended up with the car. You
Well-
remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was red. It was a fun car to have.
Didn't
That
you
was
guys? Did you guys buy a Jaguar from him
XKE.
too? Yeah, a Jaguar XKE.
It was an XKE.
Yeah, Jaguar. It was a rattle trap car, and I think you only paid $300 for it.
We founded with that. We sold it and founded Child Environmental or no, but I don't know. It's one of the businesses.
Talk about old cars. My first car was an old 49 Dodge. It was a ugly car, all one big hump. And it was ugly. But that's my first car. How about you, Max?
You remember my first car because we all rode in it on Christmas morning. Speak up.
What kind was it?
Huh?
What kind was it?
What kind was it?
Yeah.
It was
It
a
was a
Hudson,
Hudson, I think.
wasn't it? An old Hudson?
Yep.
Okay. The man trap. Yeah.
It was the man trap, yeah. And the women all had put in their quarters so we could buy gas. And we even did what do you call it? Speeding. Oh, a road thing. Somebody tried to get us to oh,
Right?
anyway, I ended up getting trouble with the police over it. My first and only, well, problem with police over that man trap.
Well, my first ticket was for dragging the mane. I got a ticket and had to go to night class with all these guys. I was the only girl. It's
Uh-huh.
terrible.
I
Could have
remember,
had mom with you. She's a good mouthpiece. She kept my license for a long time before they finally took it away.
How many times did they take it away?
No, they only took it away once. That was after about 6 or 7 tickets.
I got you beat. Took mine away twice.
Oh,
Mine was taken once just because I could only go to work, and
Mama helped get me out of trouble
I dragged the
too.
man and got a ticket.
Yeah.
I think that's why.
I remember we all got in your car and you went down El Cerrito or something, but you had to come across and get merged into the lane. And we were all scared.
Was that Ron's car?
Yeah, and Maxine's car.
Oh, Maxine.
Yeah.
How's your car, Max?
My what? I'm sorry.
They were afraid of your driving, Max.
Nobody was afraid of my driving. I was a good driver.
Just because they didn't say so.
What about the people on the sidewalks?
they were a little nervous.
But what?
They didn't know enough to get out of the way. Oh,
That's
well.
right.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maxine never liked to drive, but she was okay. She just caused other people to have accidents,
Yeah.
right?
I was the
My
leader
car-
of the pack. My car is the one that was everybody liked in high school.
Yeah.
The football team would go out and move my car to another state or another street so that when I came out, my car was gone. And there were numerous dances, and they were all for the girls that rode in the man trap. So that was a good car. Sure, it cost Daddy a good $50.
What was your first car, Candi?
What was that?
What was your first car?
My first car was Lester's old car.
Yeah,
The Ford Mustang. Was it a
Mustang
74?
It was a 74 Mustang 2.
Yeah.
It was red when I had it, and they painted it brown to give it to you.
No, no, it was red.
Oh,
It didn't get painted brown.
I thought it did.
No, as a matter of fact, I named it Little Becky Red. And I had it until I graduated from college, and Dad convinced me to sell it and buy a new car because I don't know, it ran perfectly, but there was a power steering fluid leak. I had to keep adding power steering fluid. I wish I'd just kept it. I ended up buying a Celica, but anyway.
That was a fun car. I snapped the rear end in it.
Yeah, it was a good car. It was fun.
Nobody told me it had positive traction rear end. Went around a corner, dropped down into second gear, popped the clutch, and snapped the rear end.
I'm sorry, I can't.
So it's almost
That's
a quarter after 9.
Sure, they can't see you.
Is anybody else ready to kind of wrap it up?
Yeah, I think it's about time. It's getting
Yeah.
close to my bedtime.
Way
Me too.
past
I
my
gotta get up
bedtime.
early. So you gotta be really close to your bedtime, Les.
I got up late. I can stay
Well, I
up
don't have to work
tonight.
tomorrow. If I did, I'd already be off of here because
Oh,
I
good
get
for
up at
you.
1 a.m.
Let me tell you something else. My car was a 54 Merc.
That's what it was.
But I I would Ezra bought me a 54 Merc.
Yeah.
That's just like it, except that it didn't have any door handles. You had to reach under the bumper and to open the doors.
Oh,
Well,
But I but I I I
that was for your 70th birthday, right? Surprise
I remember
for David? Yeah.
him telling all about that car of his. Yeah.
I think you told me that when you and Richard Cavan went out drag racing, you didn't have a gear shifter. He would reach down and shift the gears in the differential while you drove. Is that right?
yeah.
I thought that was
Wow.
you and Steve, Lester.
No, heck no. What do I know about
Ah,
transmissions?
I thought it was.
No, that was Dave and Richard Cavan. He said when they'd go out drag racing, Richard would be down here switching the gears when he hit the clutch, and
Oh,
they were
no.
a team.
I think in the truck one time you were driving with Steve and the gear shift broke or something, and he had to get down and you don't remember that?
Well, I remember driving with Steve twice from Richmond to Washington to pick up trailers and bring back for CTL. We just drove up, bobtailed up, and
Okay,
deadheaded back.
okay,
Oh,
that's a long
bobtailing in a 2-axle cab over with spring suspension all the way to Washington. That
Yeah.
was a fun trip.
Oh, glad you made it.
I wouldn't make it today.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
did Steve ever tell you about when we got to that restaurant at where 505 hits 5? We got in there. We had started the trip late or something in the day, and we got into this restaurant. And we were both kind of, I don't know, feeling kind of punch drunk and silly, and everything we did made us both laugh hysterically. And there's a couple of highway patrolmen and sitting over there looking at us, and they had a creamer on the table that looked like a little cow with a handle on it. And Steve picked it up and said, "Oh, look, it's Mr. Moo Moo." And we both just lost it right there in
I
the
remember.
restaurant. Years later, I found one of those at a garage sale and sent it to him.
Oh, how fun. I remember the story.
Oh my goodness.
Steve likes to remember that.
Let's wrap
Yeah,
it up.
you sent us up there with almost no fuel in the truck. We got to Cordelia. We had to fuel up in Cordelia, and I could feel my foot going to the floor before we got even to the exit. I was running out of fuel, and I
Oh,
was on fumes. When we hit the exit, I took it out of gear. We went around the corner and up to the top of the off ramp, and just the engine shut off, and I rolled right up to the fuel pump with a dead
well,
truck.
yeah, lucky.
Uh-huh.
I've done that with a car several times. With my-
You're not supposed to do it with a truck. Jeez.
That's true.
No, that's a little harder.
We made it though. We made it up to Washington twice to pick up trailers for Ron.
Huh.
And that was a memorable couple of trips that I never want to do ever again.
Maxine went on a good truck ride with me once. Remember Maxine?
Oh, I remember up the hill.
Yeah, yeah, around that mountain we weren't supposed to be on. We didn't
Yeah,
go.
are we supposed to be way over here? Where's, how come our
I was-
tires are
I was-
way over
I-
there? off the-
I was really scared too.
Yeah, and
When we got
we
over.
get to the bottom and there was a teeny little sign saying no trucks allowed up there.
Yeah. So, well, they should have told us that before we got on it.
Yeah, we missed it on
Yeah.
the way up,
It was awful.
which was too bad because we almost made it down fast.
Yeah.
And Linda kept saying, it's okay, it's okay. It's supposed to be that way. Right. I remember saying that myself.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember.
guys, it's been super. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired.
Yep.
This has been a
That's
heck of a
little-
day, hot, miserable, but oh, what a way to end it.
Miserable? You went
Yeah,
swimming.
miserable. Yeah.
You should be here,
Renting and
nice
miserable
and
too.
cool. In the
We,
house.
we went swimming this morning. I'm
Oh,
going again tomorrow.
how good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm delighted to be a part of this family. I want you to know that, and I love you all. And look forward to another one of these days. We can put some more memories, and Caleb can ask us more questions.
Yeah.
We can come up with some different answers. All
wanna
right,
thank
I'm ready
Caleb
to
for
sign
putting
out.
this. I want to
Did we
thank
come up
Caleb
with
for
any
putting
answers
this
this time?
together. This
Yeah,
has been really, really appreciate it. It's been a bit of work, I think, for him to coordinate all of this. So that's a wonderful thing.
Good job.
and
Well, we
thanks,
gotta
Caleb.
thank Caleb for doing this for
That's
us.
She just said.
Everybody clap for
He just did.
Caleb.
Oh,
Everybody
you say
clapping
that?
for
Clap
Caleb.
for the
Okay.
wolf man.
Clap.
Clap for the
Take
wolf
my
man.
bow.
Yeah, forget
yes, we appreciate it. Somebody that cares.
it. Well, we all clapped except
about it.
you.
Huh? What?
We all clapped except you.
I
Ron didn't
clap.
clap. Ron didn't clap.
I clapped.
You just
Well,
can't.
well,
see
The only thing is,
Yeah,
it
but
only
you're
picks
so-
up
you're-
one of you at a time.
We can only see you from here up though.
Yeah.
So clap up here.
Yeah,
I
I
half
was
of you guys are
clapping
cut
down
off
below.
for me. I'm only seeing half of your body.
Well, it's just as
that's
well.
I
not
don't
a
know
bad
why
thing
all
in
of a
some of our
sudden my
cases.
thing went from full down to, unless you're speaking, of course.
And at that, good night, everybody. It's been
Good
lovely.
night, David, we appreciate your son putting this all together.
Okay. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Have a
Good night,
wonderful
all.
weekend.
Yes,
Hey, good night,
good night,
Gracie.
David. Good night, Ron. Good
Good
night.
night, Gracie.
Night, John Boy.
Good night, Candy. Good night, Linda.
Good night.
night.
Okay, and we're recording now.
2, 1.
So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, what were the questions I had here? Oh,
How
yeah.
come our screens all of a sudden have gone narrow?
They're
Mine
not.
hasn't.
Not mine.
We're got a short, wide angle now.
There might be an
Can you,
option you can set where I can just show a grid view of everybody.
Well, I don't know.
Look like the Brady Bunch or something.
But it's looking fine on my end, so I'm still getting you just fine in the.
Well, we see
Yeah.
you fine, but we are shortened out. We've been cut off.
Not on
Our
my
head's
screen.
been cut off.
Only you. Only you.
Only you.
You're
Is
shrinking.
it only me?
Yeah,
Shrinking.
Hey,
Oh.
Caleb, I have a question.
okay.
So when you recorded it last time, if I remember correctly, when I watched the recording, the only people you saw were those who were speaking.
Yes.
You didn't get the grid. Is there a way to change that so that the grid is recorded?
Not that I know of, because this
Yeah.
is an automated thing, and I couldn't find a setting.
Oh, you can change it. You can change what she's saying. It's speaker view, and what
Right.
you find there's up on top usually. You can there will be a drop down screen, and I don't have it open right now, but you definitely can change that.
Yeah, there is, yeah, that is something that each individual can change. Like I can change my thing to have a grid view that shows everybody.
Oh, yeah. Speaker gallery, multi-speaker.
But you can't do that for the recording.
Yeah, I think for the recording, it's always just going to show the video of whoever's talking.
That's too bad.
So I don't think it can give us the full grid view.
You know
Part of the
what?
fun of this is seeing everybody's reactions to what's being said.
Reactions to what?
Fall asleep.
Well,
Yes.
I've set my thing to be the grid view, so we'll see if that makes a difference or not. I
Okay.
kind of hope not, because with 7 people, it's a weird kind of grid. But it'd be fine if I could keep myself out of it. But at any rate, well, we're recording now, so let's go ahead and get a few discussions going. The first question I had on the list was, what's a lesson that mom or dad taught you that has been most meaningful or helpful? Who would like to start us off?
Well, I